Hello friends, I am Dr. Aniket Paunoji and you are watching Basic Chemistry. Welcome to the series of videos on molecular symmetry. So far we have studied two elements of symmetry, and in this video we will study next element of symmetry, that is plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry is defined as an imaginary plane which bisects the molecule into two parts which are mirror images of each other. For example, ethylene molecule. If you consider this as a ethylene molecule, considering this as a double bond, if I consider a plane at the center of the molecule, it divides the molecule into two parts which are mirror images of each other. So this is the plane at the center, and you can see at the two sides of the mirror plane, the two parts are mirror images of each other. On paper also we can see this is an imaginary plane which bisects the molecule into two parts. So these two parts are mirror images of each other. Such kind of mirror plane we can imagine in various types of molecules, such as water molecule. So this plane also divides the water molecule into two parts which are mirror images of each other. If I consider example of benzene, we can imagine a mirror plane which divides the molecule into two parts. So these two parts are mirror images of each other. Let's see various types of planes of symmetry. The first type is vertical planes. For this we can consider the example of BCl3 molecule. So if this is the BCl3 molecule with boron at the center and these three as chlorine atoms, we know that this is the principal axis, as we have understood the axis of symmetry in the last video. If you have not watched that video, please click on the above link to understand axis of symmetry. So in BCl3 molecule, this is the principal axis of symmetry around which we can rotate the molecule. So a plane which contains the principal axis, or the plane which is parallel to the principal axis, is called as vertical planes. For example, in this case, this is the principal axis of symmetry, that is C3 axis of symmetry. Now the plane which contains this principal axis is called as vertical plane. So in such a way, there are three vertical planes in BCl3 molecule. For example, this is the first vertical plane, then this is the second vertical plane, and this is the third vertical plane which divides the molecule into two halves which are mirror images of each other. So this is the first vertical plane represented as sigma V. Then this is the second vertical plane, this is sigma V dash and sigma V double dash. So in this way there are three vertical planes in BCl3 molecule. Let's understand next type of plane of symmetry, that is horizontal plane. Here also we are considering BCl3 molecule, and this is the principal axis of symmetry. A plane which is perpendicular to the principal axis of symmetry is called as horizontal plane. For example, this is the BCl3 molecule and this is the principal axis of symmetry. So a plane which is perpendicular to this principal axis of symmetry is called as horizontal plane. Or we can say that the plane which contains most of the atoms of the molecule is called as horizontal plane of symmetry. So this is the horizontal plane of symmetry represented as sigma h. In the last video we have seen that the BCl3 molecule consists of three C2 axes of symmetry. A horizontal plane is the one which consists of all these subsidiary axes of symmetry. Let's understand the next type of plane of symmetry, that is dihedral plane. For this we are considering xenon F4 molecule. If this is the xenon F4 molecule with xenon at the center and these are the four fluorine atoms, for simplicity we are not considering the lone pairs. We know that this is the first C2 axis the molecule has, and this is the another C2 axis the molecule has, around which the molecule can be rotated to get the equivalent images. So this is the first C2 axis and this is the second C2 axis. A plane which divides the angle formed between the two consecutive C2 axes is called as dihedral plane. For example, this is the first C2 axis, this is the second C2 axis, and this is the plane that I am talking about, which divides the molecule into two halves. So the upper half is same as that of lower half. So this is the dihedral plane. We can imagine one more dihedral plane in this molecule. This is also a dihedral plane. So on paper we can show that this is the another dihedral plane which is present in xenon F4 molecule. We have to remember that the dihedral plane is the one which contains least number of atoms, whereas horizontal plane is the one which contains most number of atoms. This dihedral plane is little difficult to understand. We can understand this in a better way with the help of alene molecule. In alene molecule, there are 3 carbon atoms and 4 hydrogen atoms at opposite corners of a tetragon. In alene molecule, this is the first C2 axis of symmetry, say along x-axis, another C2 axis of symmetry along y-axis, and there is another C2 axis of symmetry which is perpendicular to first 2 C2 axis of symmetries. So this is the third C2 axis of symmetry, say along z-axis. So a plane which consists of this C2 axis of symmetry is called as dihedral plane. We can see that there is another dihedral plane in this molecule which also consists of the third C2 axis of symmetry. So an angle formed between the first two C2 axis of symmetry is divided by third C2 axis of symmetry. So the plane which consists of third C2 axis of symmetry is called as dihedral plane. Let's understand in 3 dimensions. So this is the alene molecule. These two are the double bonds, and we can see that these 2 hydrogen atoms and this double bond are in one plane, and these 2 hydrogen atoms and this double bond are in another plane. Now there is first C2 axis of symmetry in this format. This is the first C2 axis of symmetry I am talking about. Now there is another C2 axis of symmetry which is present like this. So first C2 axis and the second C2 axis, which gives equivalent images. And there is third C2 axis of symmetry which is perpendicular or which bisects the angle formed between the first C2 axis of symmetry. So this is called as third C2 axis of symmetry, which can rotate the molecule in this way to get an equivalent image. Now if you see from this angle, this is the C2 axis of symmetry to get the equivalent image, and this is the first dihedral plane, and this is the second dihedral plane which bisects the molecule into 2 halves which are mirror images of each other. I know that there might be some confusion in your mind to understand this dihedral plane. For this we can squeeze this alene molecule to methane molecule. In methane molecule also there are 4 hydrogen atoms at opposite corners of a cube, which is similar to that of alene molecule. Now we can consider first C2 axis like this to rotate these 4 hydrogen atoms around this C2 axis to get equivalent images. We can consider another C2 axis along this direction to rotate the 4 hydrogen atoms to get equivalent images. And we can consider another C2 axis which bisects the angle formed between first 2 C2 axis of symmetry to get equivalent images. So this is the third C2 axis of symmetry, and the plane which contains this C2 axis of symmetry is called as dihedral plane. For example, when we squeeze the alene molecule to methane molecule, so methane molecule is a tetrahedral molecule with these 3 hydrogen atoms at down and 1 hydrogen atom at the top. So this can be imagined in this way also. So there are the 2 hydrogen atoms in one plane, and these are the 2 hydrogen atoms in another plane. Now I can rotate the molecule like this. I can rotate the molecule like this, or I can rotate the molecule like this. So these are the 3 C2 axis of symmetry in methane molecule or in alene molecule. So one of the C2 axis of symmetry bisects the angle formed between first 2 C2 axis of symmetry, which contains a plane which is called as dihedral plane. So these are the 3 types of planes of symmetry. First is vertical plane, second is horizontal plane, and third is dihedral plane. Let's understand all 3 planes of symmetry in one example. For example, xenon F4 molecule. In xenon F4 molecule, this is the principal axis of symmetry or C4 axis of symmetry. This is the principal axis, and there are other axes of symmetries which are called as subsidiary axis of symmetry. For example, C2 axis. So this is the first C2 axis of symmetry, and another C2 axis of symmetry which is perpendicular to the first C2 axis of symmetry. Now these planes which contains the principal axis of symmetry is called as vertical planes. So there are two vertical planes, we can see that sigma v and sigma v dash. Now there are two more C2 axis of symmetries which bisects the angle formed between first two C2 axis of symmetries. Now the plane which consists of these C2 axis of symmetries are called as dihedral planes. So in xenon F4 molecule there are two dihedral planes, and the third plane which is perpendicular to the principal axis of symmetry, which consists of all the 5 atoms in xenon F4 molecule, is called as horizontal plane. So these are the three planes of symmetries in xenon F4 molecule. Now on the screen you can see 6 molecules, and you have to tell me which types of planes of symmetries are present in these molecules. Mention your answers in the comment box. I hope you understood various types of planes of symmetries. If you like my video, click on like, do share and subscribe my channel. Also hit the bell icon to get the notification of my new videos, and keep watching Basic Chemistry. Thank you.